Welcome to Bumpers.
Welcome to Bumpers. This is your podcast. For those of you going through... Jesus. I'm going to need some tequila or something.
Should we take a shot before every podcast?
I think we should. But that'll be a bad habit to build. I mean, I'm down. You want to? Want to do a shot of tequila or gin? Do you like gin?
I'll do a shot of whatever you take.
This took a turn. I think it's appropriate for the crisis episode.
Yeah.
We're talking about some personal stuff, so just need some tequila. Smells good.
It does actually smell really good.
Okay.
Okay.
Cheers to episode 1. I'm so excited for this chapter with you. It's so cringy, but so fun, and we're going to be great. I love you.
Love you too.
Love you guys.
Cheers to us and all our crises.
And with that, welcome to episode 1 of Bumpers, where we're going to dive in. Our first topic is going to be about the crisis. And what does that mean? Just like every crisis you go through, whether it's beginning of your life, midlife, quarter life, or quarter life comes before midlife. But we all go through crises and crises.
Yeah.
And we just want to talk about it because I think it's important.
Everyone looks to us like we have our shit together and we just clearly don't.
Clearly we don't. We just took a shot because we couldn't even drink. Don't drink. Don't cope that way. But yeah, no, we don't. And I think as time goes by, something about that's pretty awesome. That we don't have our shit together and it's okay.
It's definitely okay. And we're just kind of here to share all of our crises with everybody.
Yeah. If this can just reach one person, that's all we want. And I think that's what Em and I decided initially when we started talking about this is our goal is just to build a community, big or small.
This is so weird for me. I feel like people are going to be excited about us.
I know everyone's
doing this,
right?
But also, I feel like the people who really know me are going to be extra excited because there's a microphone in front of my voice, and everyone says I'm just such a low speaker that this is finally just. Hey,
you've also been behind the camera with most of the work you've been doing, right?
Yeah,
with, your cooking videos.
I'm never in front of the camera.
And
this is weird for me.
It's weird for you, but I'm excited for you. I think this is a great next step because the world should know more about you and your life.
Too. I feel like no one knows about you.
I've gotten that before.
You've been in the corporate world, and now you're
corporate world, and I'm not an oversharer of my personal life, but honestly, even with the people I'm close with, I oftentimes find that when I speak with them, I have a really hard time opening up or even just getting into that place where you can be deep. And so I'm excited for this to be an avenue for us to be ourselves. And not that I'm not myself with my friends. Don't get that twisted. I'm just saying it takes me time to get there. And I think this will get us there. You know what
absolutely.
I mean?
No, this is just also an avenue for us to be vulnerable, share, cry, smile, laugh, all those emotions.
All of it. You're going to see us ugly cry soon.
Oh, God.
I'm sure of it. So we're the Bumpers, and we're your...
Bumpers.
We're your bumpers.
We're your bumpers in your roadmap of life.
Of your life. And more personally, your quarter life crisis. For those of you who are, just feeling they can't catch a break about it all. So
no, we all experience bumps in the roads. And I don't know, I'm just going to use you as my bumper.
You're my
And
bumper.
you're my bumper.
It's
in
like when you're playing bowling.
alley.
Right. When you're playing bowling, like if you actually want to win, you put up your bumpers and it's okay.
We all know what cheer does.
If you're driving, listen, I'm actually pretty good at bowling. I'm not going to just take that insult, but but at the same time, like bumps in the road can be good. There are speed bumps. Now I sound like a fucking like mother. There's speed bumps in the road, and sometimes you gotta take them.
Yeah,
you gotta take.
We
the
hate them
bumps.
in the moment. We hate driving over speed bumps, but
there's a reason they're there
to slow you down and to enjoy the moment that you're in.
Enjoy
whether it's enjoy it or learn from it,
or just not crash and burn into something that
exactly.
If you're going too fast,
metaphorically,
right?
We're just your bumpers, and we're here to talk about bumps. Bumps as in kids and pregnancies. Bumps as in friendships, who you're bumping in and out of your life. Bumps as in
what songs are you bumping to?
Bumping to. But yeah, all of that. So I guess let's just dive in. Are you in a crisis right now?
Honestly, I feel like we're always in some sort of crisis, and not to make it like, oh, look how convenient. I'm in a crisis for a crisis episode. But and also not to say it like that I'm complaining or that I'm, in a bad place. I just think like I've accepted that there's always a crisis, big or small. And I mean, other people go through way bigger crises than I'm going through, and I recognize that. But I don't think that diminishes what people go through regardless.
No. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think, whenever I go through a crisis, and we can totally dive into what that is, and I want to hear from you as well. I always think about past times that I've been in a crisis, and I try to think back, like, what helped me then? How can that help me now? And like, ultimately, like those crises passed. It may have taken a month, it may have taken a year or even longer, but it gets better. And so I hold that hope with me always that we're going to be fine.
I feel like people forget to remember the things that they had gone through.
Yeah.
Life is just one big crisis, and we're always going to be dealing with something. And I think when you're in the moment of a certain crisis, you kind of forget a past
you're like,
crisis.
you have your blinders on and you're like tunnel vision, like,
exactly.
Oh my God, all of this is happening to me now, but you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
But that crisis led you to a new one, or led you to overcome that one and then have a new strength
100%
to get through.
And led you to blessings. Like some crises lead you to blessings, whether it's breakups or moves or pandemics. I mean, I don't know how that helped any people, but I think there's a silver lining. The pandemic, controversial.
I didn't love
what was happening,
what was going on, but I loved that time.
That's the silver lining
life,
of it. Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like literally an amazing example that you just brought up. COVID, that big overarching umbrella crisis of what was going on in the world and people getting sick and unfortunately people passing.
And when you were in it, you were so in it. You were like, this is existential, and it felt that way.
But then again, like looking back, it brought so much good. It brought me the love of my life.
Right.
Like I met my husband, which then brought us our baby and like just our new way of life. And it brought a new friend group. It just brought light to my life when, all around us was darkness.
100%.
So I don't know. It's just perspective.
Sure.
At the end of the day, crisis is all about perspective.
It is.
You can look at your glass half full, half empty, but a lot of people forget that your glass is refillable. Like,
I love that. The contrast between like the good and the bad, and sometimes it happens at the same time. And like an example I think about, like where I was in a really deep funk, not just like a mental funk, but just a really low in my life, was like a couple years ago, right around where I got engaged, ironically, which was in the same breath, like the happiest moment of my life. But I was so ill and like sick, and I was didn't know what was going on. And there was just like, I felt hopeless. Like it was like the only time I think in my life that I was like, I just will never figure this out, why I feel so ill. And
what
will
were you
definitely
feeling? Like sick as in coughing?
physically,
physically, emotionally, mentally, like what were
I
you
think
feeling?
just, so I have celiac disease, which I know now, and had a number of other health issues, and we will definitely dive into all of those during bumpers in the future, near future. But yeah, I was physically ill, going through a bunch of mystery things that I couldn't quite pinpoint what they were. But my hair was falling out. I was losing weight without intending to. I just looked physically, like when I look at pictures of myself today versus a few years ago, I look like I got a lot healthier through the years, which is an amazing like leap of progress. And I'm so happy about that. But my point is like, it was such a deep time, like a deep low for me. And during that same time, I was surprised with my engagement. I had no idea it was coming. I mean, I know it's,
you guys have been together for so long.
I know. But like, so I knew we were going to get engaged, but this was deep in the pandemic, to go back into the pandemic. And I like, the way many people felt and like how I felt was like life is on pause, like nothing is happening.
Right.
And so I thought for some reason that our love was not our love, but that our progress was on pause and that we just need to hang low. And I was just trying to heal, trying to figure out like what it is that I'm going through. And during that time, Jake proposed on our, what was it, like 7-year anniversary.
7 years.
Yeah, and I was surprised.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Clearly I'm like, I was such a gentleman. But I remember feeling like right when he asked me, like a million emotions. You think that you're just gonna feel a certain way. And I just felt overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I don't feel my best. I don't look my best. This isn't how I expected it to go down because I want to be in a certain place. And like what that taught me is like, that's not how life works. Like the best things happen during shitty times. And it's beautiful. Like that is gorgeous. Like looking back, I look at our pictures and it brings me like, it makes me emotional just seeing like someone who wasn't doing well, but who was able to kind of enjoy the good and kind of roll with the punches at the same time. And
I mean, you shouldn't, one, that's beautiful that you're even saying that out loud, because you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket when good things happen to you. Right. It's not like, I don't know, Jake in a way was proposing and giving you a promise and that cushion that just because you don't feel A+ or you don't feel like yourself right now, I love you and I love you for who you are and all the nooks and the crannies. Like,
right.
He was providing you that cushion and that safe space of now you can focus on who you want to be and let's fix what you think you need to fix about yourself, but know that I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. Which is a huge, I think, weight lifted off of your shoulders during that time. But it just shows like everybody can have everything they want in their life. You just can't all get it at the same time.
No. And it's not ever going to be exactly how you anticipated it to be.
No, and it shouldn't be.
No, and it shouldn't be. And we should really like embrace the shitty and the pretty and all of it. Yeah. Yeah. So I like to think about that. But look, that gave you
that he literally rolled out the red carpet for you and saying like, I accept. We are going to be okay. We are okay. Now
it's like you're healing.
You take the time.
We love each other. Right. And all the things can exist at the same time.
Absolutely.
Like you don't need XYZ to be in place before you can do what you want to do. Just like us and our, like, even this podcast, like you can make a million excuses as to why we can't do what we're doing, but there's beautiful and like not so beautiful at the same time. And like, it's just about showing up. And like you said, the perspective, like, yeah, listen, I'm always in a crisis, but I love that. Do I? That's a fucking lie. That's not true.
I don't love
being in a crisis, but I embrace it.
Embrace the imperfections.
Yeah.
The imperfections are there to remind you of what you went through. Like, I was looking at my scars yesterday, my endometriosis scars, and some people, you know, they go and get work done so they don't have to see those scars. But I don't know, for some reason, I love them and I embrace them. And I think every scar tells a story, and it just shows like you needed to endure that path or that part of your life 100%. To get to where you are today. And, you know, that brought hardship and sadness all at once. But I don't know, it just made me stronger and reminded me that look what I got at the end of the day. I don't know.
Right. 100%.
So
I agree.
I don't know. I don't think we should all be fixated on covering our blemishes or putting a Band-Aid on something that we went through in the past or the crisis that we're feeling right now.
Right. And I think it's just second nature for people to be that way these days. So I think it's important to like remind everyone that doesn't need to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And we shouldn't put those filters on ourselves in our life.
Agree.
You know?
Yeah.
Is there a crisis you feel like you're going through or have gone through that you want to touch on?
You know, I recently just became a mom, and I'm just now getting to the point where I'm figuring out like what my day-to-day purpose or routine is aside from being a mom. You know, I was for so long in the food industry, and I'm trying to figure out if that's something that I want to jump right back into or take a pause. I don't know. I think it's that constant crisis of juggling, like what and how much can I take on for myself and for my family? Being a mom is the hardest job in the world. You know, I'm juggling that crisis of like, what is my career? What do I want to be doing every day?
It sounds like you're putting an extreme amount of pressure on yourself. I don't know. Do you feel like that pressure is you putting that pressure on yourself? Or do you think in some respect it's like pressure from other people or how you're perceived? Like, or, you know, obviously you built, and if you want to talk about it, like you built an amazing brand for yourself in the food space.
99% of it is the pressure that I put on myself, but that comes from knowing where I was in the past. Like, I was able to build a business for myself, all by myself, that did exponentially well and brought a ton of success. And I did have certain goals for myself, you know, in a few years from now. And then getting pregnant and having Noah, I guess, was my bump.
Yeah.
Was my bump in that road and made me then have to look at things in a different light, question if those were the right goals for me or if those are still the goals for me.
Right.
So in a way, yeah, the pressures are on me, by me. However, in a way, I also think that pressure comes from a lot of other people because I don't know, I just feel like and it's a problem within myself and insecurity that I feel like I'm judged by a lot of people, whether it be friends, family, strangers.
Yeah.
Now that everything is so public on social media and people have seen my success go a certain way, I want to live up to that success again.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of this is making sense.
No, it's making a lot of sense.
It's like I feel the judgment or the pressure from other people, but I think that judgment and that pressure comes from me.
Yeah.
Not intentionally from other people.
I think you're just putting the weight of what you think everyone thinks on yourself.
Yeah.
And it could all, I mean, listen, some people might think what they think, but I bet you that your brain is fabricating like 90% of what you think people are thinking.
Yeah. No,
Yeah. And
I will agree with you. Will I change my thoughts?
You will.
Probably not, because it's just
with with your bumper right here, you will.
Yeah, you're my bumper. But like
no, I get
that's just the like, I don't know. It's how I'm wired. And I want to, I'm giving a promise to the people.
No,
I want to be able to change that perception of myself and the way that I think about myself and the way that I think that other people view me.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that just ties into the overarching crisis that I'm feeling now of, I don't know what I'm doing, if it's going to change, when it's going to change. This podcast is definitely giving me some sort of purpose and excitement towards working on something.
Right.
That's not just
like
being a mom.
Out. Bringing up your purpose, like in conversation on your crisis. Like, I think those go hand in hand, and people don't, I mean, it might be common sense, but I feel like when you're going through your crisis, many people are like, who am I? What am I? What's my purpose in life? How has my purpose changed? How did I ruin my purpose that I thought was my purpose?
Right.
And I think that's like so human of you and so honest for you to share it that way, because ultimately, like, I think for many people, their purpose is to maybe help other people. And like something I've also kind of thought about as well, just coming out of 5 years in corporate and just thinking like, this was the path for me. This is what I'm destined to do. And I'm not ashamed to say that I was really fucking good at my job. And like,
there's a reason you were there for so long.
And I was loved by my team. But candidly, like, it made me sick. I made myself sick. The stress that I put on myself, you know, similar to what you kind of expressed, that you're doing with this pressure. Like, I put that on myself in ways that literally like manifested into illness. And I'm 100% confident about that stress can kill someone.
Yeah.
With time.
But you also just said something so crucial. Like, I think when you're experiencing a crisis, which in your sense, that crisis was you're not feeling well while working at this corporate job. And when you're not feeling good, not you, I'm saying general you, we're so quick to point the finger and blame someone else or something else for why we're not feeling good.
Right.
Hence the crisis. But I think that shift in saying, I'm not feeling good and I'm physically making myself ill because of this job, like, or because I'm doing it to myself, that's a huge shift. And probably when you started to then feel better because 100%. You were able to say, I don't feel good. I need to take better care of myself. I need to do something. Like, you're in control of only yourself. Right. You can't control your job or your boss. You can't control those things. You can only control the things within yourself. But that moment of like that enlightenment, like, was the day I was able to release myself from those handcuffs of my job. And I want to preface by saying, and I want to put it out there, that like, we need to work. Like, we need to make money. Food's got to come somewhere. Like, I totally recognize that. For me, I put all that pressure on myself. I'm so thankful for my support system. I think that's so important to say that, like, we have a support system, and that's beautiful. I never wanted to lean on that. I felt like I wanted to fix everything myself. But you can't do everything
and
yourself.
I couldn't. And I allowed myself to surrender. And I mean, there's so many examples I could go into, like how this pressure was just always there from the day I was born. But like, yeah, I think that moment of leaving that job, leaving the promotions, leaving that life, it takes a shot at the ego, but it also like was so liberating. And it's not like I left that job being like, oh, I'm fucking fine. Like everything is great. Like, no, I left that job not knowing what the next thing would be, scared out of my mind, but it opened so many doors that wouldn't have opened hadn't I left, hadn't I trusted. That I took a trust fall. Like I literally just fell back and said, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like take the leap. Like I don't know what I'm leaping into, but like we're going to sort it out. And I didn't crash and burn. And like for many people, like, you know, I literally just erase that part of me, which I don't know if that's healthy. Like I don't think we should completely like be like, you can't say like, oh, I don't even want to look at the food stuff I've done, or I don't want to identify as that. And I can't say like, I don't want to identify with my recruiting job, with my corporate job, with my space in that industry. Like we did that. We were successful in that. Like that brought us to where we are today. That's important. It's not like just erasing it and then starting over.
No. But it's normal to look back at that time and say like, ugh, or like to feel weird about it. I don't know. It wasn't that long ago. I'm over exaggerating, but I look back at it now and I'm like, how did I do that for so long? Or why did I do that? And I start questioning myself and my morals and like, what? It gives me the ick right now.
That you did. Yeah.
And that's what makes me not want to jump right back into it, which I'm sure with you also, like you look back at your job and you're like, how did I do that for so long?
Yeah. It also just gives me like, it's so crazy because there were so many elements of my job that I really loved, and the people I worked with, I loved so many of them. Mm-hmm. And I learned so much. And I really believe that like who I am today is because of that job and because of everything I've been through there. But if I even visit the like chance of ever going back into something like that, I have like a physical response to just even thinking about it. Like it's some form of like a micro trauma that I developed from
That's what
a
I'm
job.
saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's like,
it's just
and
like
then
you
a
wanna,
part
like,
of me is like, how dare I like think like that? Like
it's like a fight
I'm
or
blessed.
flight.
I'm fortunate. Like everything's okay. Like my life was never at risk at that job. Like,
yeah, but you remember the emotions and the sick and the illness,
right?
That
in that time of my life,
that time, and you don't want to jump right back in,
no,
because you're scared that it's going to happen again.
Right. And we learned so much from all of that it would be almost like a disservice to us and to those we're obsessed with in our life to go back to that really dark, uncertain, sick place. Like I just would never want to do that again, like you said.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's like,
but is it wrong of us to like close that door and
no,
move on to something else?
No, some people think, and listen, anything's possible, but some people think they have to keep 2 doors open to see what their options are. I'm a firm believer, and sue me if you think otherwise, that like you need to shut that fucking door before you can truly walk into another one. Because
it's like having a wandering eye.
Or
having one foot in, one foot out. Like
you gotta go all in. And
I am a believer in the same thing. Like jump into the deep end, or walk in with 2 feet.
I also hate when people say, just be positive. Like, just stay positive through it all. We should all try to be positive, but I fucking hate hearing that. Like, I hate
it's the worst also when you're experiencing something and someone's like,
you're going through a crisis.
Yeah, just be positive, or just put a smile on your face. It's like, no, I think it's totally okay to feel the emotions that you're feeling. Don't take it out on the people next to you, but like
that's tough.
It's wrong to just put a smile on your face and keep going. I think that's you brushing things under the rug, and it's gonna that's what's going to bubble and create trauma or create this thing that's just going to explode one day.
In order to heal and get through it, you have to experience the emotion. Like,
you have to express that emotion.
Yeah.
Don't harm yourself, don't harm other people, but whether it be, I don't know, I don't know how to journal for the life of me, but some people like to write it all out. Like, that works for some. Some people need to eat a tub of ice cream. Like, I'm that type of person. Or some person needs to go on a run or like listen to a full album in peace. And like, I don't know, everybody has their form of expression.
Right.
And just do that. I don't know. Like, I hate when people, I hate it too. Like when people are like, just be positive. Like I don't think it's possible to be happy all the time.
But
I just don't.
I think it's okay to be human.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. Look, the sky cries.
Right.
Every so often, you know, like, I don't know why. Ever since I was little, I always thought like,
it's cute.
When it's raining outside, like the world or God, whatever you want to believe in, is crying. The world is expressing sadness. You know, I don't look at a gloomy day and I'm like, I'm going to be sad today. I actually love gloomy days. They're my favorite.
Right.
But it's a way of expressing. Like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be happy one day. It's okay to be mad. Like, you're supposed to experience all these things in your life.
And then there's light that comes from those storms. And there's so much, like, there are miracles that happen. Yeah. And so the good stuff happens from the pressure of the bad. And I think you gotta, rather than saying be positive, just remember that this stuff passes and it always works out, even though it doesn't seem like it will. It just does.
Yeah.
Not in the ways you think it needs to work out, but it figures itself out. And I think just having faith in that, rather than being positive or being happy, like, just like having faith, like, if it's in a God or in yourself or in the universe, like, just trusting that it'll be okay. And like, this is the season. So yeah. So for all of you saying be positive and it's all fine, like, no, it's not fucking fine. But
let it out,
but I know, but it's gonna be over soon.
It's hard for me, like, when I'm experiencing something and someone's telling me it's gonna be fine. It's like,
yeah, that's not how to say
when. Like, just tell me when it's gonna be fine. You know?
I think sometimes you just want, like, your friend to be like, I love you, I'm here for you. And
I don't know. Sometimes I just want,
or just like listen, just someone to listen.
I just need a word vomit and cry. And
the last you don't need answers.
No, the last thing I want to hear is you're going to be fine, or everything's going to be fine, or you're okay, or you're healthy. Like, I know these things.
When people gaslight me about the health shit.
Just let me cry or let me feel bad right now. I don't know, like
100%. I keep saying 100%, but it's like actually 100% true.
Like, if someone were to hand you a book right now of your entire life, detailed every day, from the day you're born to the day you leave, would you read it?
No. There is no way in hell I'd even consider it.
See, I would.
You would. Why?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm one of those people that's constantly looking for answers and looking for reason to why things are happening the way they're happening. And I think because my life has been this big untraditional path, I just want to know why and what happens next. Like, I'm that type of person that if I'm about to watch a movie, like, or a TV show, give me the spoilers, because then I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to happen.
There is that, like, comfort in being familiar with the, you know, like, sometimes I do like watching reruns or the movies I've always loved instead of watching something I've literally wanted to watch forever, because I just, that comfort of knowing. But like, we can't always be comfortable. And sometimes that's not good to
No,
be.
I know.
That's so interesting. I wouldn't have anticipated that you would read that damn book.
I would say,
Emma,
everyone leave me alone. I'm locking myself in a room and I'm going to read this from...
what would you do? You'd get out. Okay, you'd close that book and you'd be like, what then? You'd fucking lose it. You'd freak out.
I don't know if I'd lose it. I'd just be like, la-di-da.
La-di-da.
I don't know. I would, like... I think now I'm scientifically proven, like, I would lose my shit. But I don't know. I would want to know. I don't know. I'm just excited about all of that.
What? Okay.
Like, when I met David, I was like, is he my person? I want him to be my person. And I wish I could
you had that book.
Open a book and be like, he's my person. That's
crazy. Well, I have a question for you. What would you today tell your younger self? Whether it's your childhood self or your self last week or yourself even pre-crisis, pre-recent crisis. Like, what would you go back and say?
I don't know. Just be yourself. Just be
Emma.
I'm constantly reminded. My dad, since I was a little girl, always told me, like, if you're going to be known for one thing in the world,
what would it be?
It's for your smile. Just
it's
smile.
So true,
Emma, just smile. And I think, I don't know, I've gone through life and people know my smile. So I'm always like, I did it. Like,
you have the most magnetic smile ever.
Thank you.
And I'm excited for everyone to see, like, you in the flesh.
Thank you.
Finally.
But it's just that same sense of calm of, like, just be yourself. Like, it's just it's a very simple saying, but it's true. Like, you were created. Every person was created in such a magical and delicate way.
Right.
Don't try to force anything upon you, upon others.
Be you.
Just be you.
I love that so much.
That was my long spiel.
I love that.
What about you?
I thought about this.
This is a good question.
Jake asked me it earlier when I kind of told him a little bit about what we're going to dive in today. He was like, and I was just kind of word vomiting about everything as I do, and you'll learn, which might be shocking to people because everyone thinks I'm like this quiet.
Yeah,
whatever.
when people first meet you, you're pretty reserved.
Yeah, I'm reserved and like
she's a cool, calm, collected person.
No one knows. Yeah, fucking right. But if I could talk to my younger self, and by younger I mean like child, like little kid, I'd just be like, keep dreaming. I think it's very childlike to dream. When you grow up, people will tell you, oh, that's not realistic, or oh, that's not possible, and whatever avenue that comes in, and it always will, just keep that alive because it's the most valuable part of your spirit and like who you are. And it's been my guiding force through so many crises and through so many like weird moments. And sometimes sometimes I lose that. Whenever I'm blessed to come back to it, I'm like, thank fucking God I'm able to keep doing that because it's so important and it works. Mm-hmm. It fucking works. Like, it just keeps you and your spirit in check. And so I just tell her, like, yeah, keep doing that thing you love to do, like pretending and dreaming and manifesting. Like, it's so pivotal. Yeah.
Well, there's something so innocent.
Right.
And delicate about that. You know, like this, literally you said it, the strongest skill or value a human has is curiosity. Mm-hmm. It's the only driving force that's gonna make us bigger than what we already are, or make us stronger, or, you know, you learn by being curious.
Right.
And I think that's the adult version of dreaming.
Right.
You know, like as a kid you dream, and as an adult you're curious.
Right.
So I think it's just tapping into that mentality of.
But in that dreaming,
we were all kids once,
right? And we still are, like,
100%.
And I think in that dreaming, that the curiosity sometimes we lose when we grow, and it turns into that curiosity is like that imagination and that like creativity. Like sometimes when you're curious, it could be analytical. It could be like very like factually based. What I mean is like dream, like even if it doesn't fucking make sense, like keep that alive and don't let the adulthood feeling of like it has to all make logical sense.
Or it all has to go in a certain way and happen.
It's like exactly
A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Like it doesn't. It doesn't work that way.
Well, we have so many fun topics. Like I definitely want to dive into that childlike topic that we talked about.
I mean, learning it now all over again with Noah is
my God. She probably inspires you in like many ways, right?
I mean, I'm just learning
from
everything again for the very first time. And she's physically, mentally, really legitimately learning everything for the first time. So that whole concept of, again, tapping into that dream like mentality is mind-boggling. Yeah. So we definitely should dive into that like another day.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for sure.
Wow. I think this, you just sparked another light under me.
Ooh, I like that.
Something to look forward to.
I think like the biggest takeaway is like the good and the bad happen together. And there's always a crisis that is happening, whether it's in our personal life or an external force that kind of comes in and it's like, oh, you were all fine. And then we just like shit on your parade. There's no way to anticipate what will happen. And so I think just finding ways to embrace the shit and the suck with the beautiful times. And I'm not saying I've mastered that. I'm not even close, but I think
it's possible to master it.
But recognizing that that's how it should be, like you just have to embrace all of it. And we'll be here for all the bumps. Maybe not all of them. I don't know. If you have like a serious bump, like you fall on your head and have a bump, like call 911 because I don't know if I could help with that.
In some ways, you've mapped out your life and things have happened to you in a certain order. And for me, I think things are happening in the complete opposite order. So I think to shed...
There's no right way.
No, there's no... Yeah. And like, we're practically the same age. And yet we've both experienced some of the same and some very different things, but you'll come to me for things and I'll come to you for things. Yeah. And it's just, that's just how
and
life
I love
rolls. That. And I think there's a reason to why we choose certain people to have in our lives.
Like your community is everything, like who you're around and your people, like foster those relationships and
learn from
them and tend to them, like water them like plants. I'm not kidding. Like,
I'm a terrible plant mom. I can't do that. I cannot have a plant.
But you're pretty good at watering your friend plants, like your human plants.
Yeah, my human plants.
Like your Noah
kid
bean plants.
I prefer to have children than plants.
Plants and me don't really jive, but
tune in
for the next one
episode.
If this was interesting. I thought it was. Yay! We should take another shot. No, I'm kidding.
I feel like I should just carry this microphone with me everywhere.
Right.
David would be so happy.